Good morning, everybody. This is Jenny Norris, and welcome to Home Staging Talk Show Live. It is Friday. This is the last show of 2023, and we've got a great show for you. We have our special guest, Laurie Graham, who's going to be sharing with us, and she is one of our speakers for the upcoming Las Vegas conference. And so we're going to get to her in just a little bit. I did want to just share some updates with you guys. So, and if you are joining us, your comments should be able to go across the screen now because we're streaming live to 3 different locations, 2 locations in Facebook, and then to our YouTube channel. And so when people comment, it doesn't tell me your name. So if you'd like to just say, hey, this is so-and-so, and you're making a comment, then we can actually address you personally versus when you stream to just one location, it shows everything. So anyway, that said, thank you for tuning in and joining us today. Home Staging Talk Show Live is brought to you by the International Association of Home Staging Professionals. And we have our conference coming up, which I shared. So I want to make sure that you are aware that the ticket prices go up New Year's Eve at the stroke of midnight when you're all celebrating and balloons are falling and so forth. That's when the ticket prices are going to go up. So save yourself $100 and register now before the prices go up. Now, we also have an incentive for those of you that have colleagues and they've been talking about maybe wanting to come and so forth. You know, if they come because you shared with them like, hey, you have to come and we're going to have such a great time, for every person that you refer to purchase a ticket, they will put your name down as the referral source and you're going to get $50 per person. So that's a great way for you to pay for your ticket. Also, you know, you refer 8 people, that pays for your ticket, 9 people pays for your ticket. So think about that. And because we want to have a great turnout, and it's fun to have your colleagues and friends who you interact with on social media to be able to meet them there in person. And then of course we're going to have a fun time and go to market and so forth. But just remember, the New Year's Eve on the 1st at 11:59, the price is going to go up. So you want to make sure that you save the money and register now. And we're going to have a great time. We are actually partnering, as many of you know, with And More, which is the former International Market Center. And so their new name is And More. We'll actually be in Building C at the market. And so that's the first time ever done. And we will be partnering with them in Atlanta as well in July. So it's going to be a different experience. You don't have to go, back and forth, different locations. The headquarter hotel, by the way, is the Strat. And they did a $300 million renovation. So they went from the Stratosphere. So now their new name is the Strat. And so they've got Top Golf on there. They've got a lot of activities, and it's fairly close to the market. They will have shuttles running on the 27th for us. On the 26th, we're supposed to have lift codes that we can use that the market has provided for our attendees. And then again, on the 28th, the shuttles will be running. So they'll be easy to get back and forth to market. And this is our preview of our speakers. Some of the speaker lineups here. You can see, you can preview all of the topics and the schedule on the site, on the IAHSP ConExpo.com site. It'll take you to our platform, and you'll be able to see what all the topics are. We have everything from marketing and sales, branding. We have people sharing on short-term rental, people sharing on niche-specific services for their business. We have people talking about how to get onto the media, if you're interested in being on an HGTV show or something similar like that. We have somebody sharing on that. We also have things that will motivate and inspire. And then we also have our trends. So the trends session, Birgit is actually doing that. And then Kevin Tane will be joining after she finishes and talking about how to curate specific things for your business with fabrics and so forth, and establishing partnerships so that you don't look like everybody else and do it in an inexpensive way. So very excited for the topics that we are going to be bringing to you in Las Vegas. And one of the plugs I also want to give is our master's scale course. We are holding one in March in Plymouth. So it's going to be March. I think it's the 26th, 27th, 28th, and 29th. I have to check the dates because their heads are cut off here. Let's see if I can get this one in here. So, but we are going to do it in Plymouth. So that'll be the first master's course for 2024. So those of you that are looking to attend, you can save $500 right now, or actually 25% off. It's more than $500 now through January 31st. So if you're interested in that, you can register at stagetimes.com and also on the IAHSP site. So it's in both locations. We had a great time in London teaching the first live. We will be presenting master's courses in 2024 in Europe. probably in 2 different locations. And so that'll be really good because they need to learn how to advance their business and scale as well. Next week, you can join us and hear from this gentleman here, Brandon T. Adams. He's one of our keynote speakers. He will be the guest on the show on January 5th, which is next Friday. And so very excited to have him coming to our conference. He is an incredible speaker, motivational, very knowledgeable about branding, videos, the importance of putting yourself out there as your authentic self. And so he's going to be talking a lot about that and actually doing more of a workshop session where you'll actually have things that you will be acting on right then, versus taking a bunch of notes and going back and then remembering like, where did I put that stuff? And I'll get to that later. There's actually things you'll be implementing at the conference so that you'll actually have actionable things that will impact your business in a positive way when you leave. So very excited to have him joining us. And I believe that must be all for my announcements. So Laurie is ready to come on. I'm going to bring in this one versus this one. Okay, we have 2 of you here, but I'll just bring this one in. I think this is the one that's working for sound. All right, good morning.
Good morning.
So we have, let me do this, remove. Okay, now talk again. Let me see if I can hear you. Oh, wait, hang on a second. Oh, now, okay, now. Hello.
Good morning.
Okay, yay. Yeah, we had an issue with the sound, so good, awesome.
I know, I'm such a Zoom girl, so I'm like, what is this new thing? I don't know how to use it. The sound's not working. And so I was like, oh my gosh. So hi, thank you so much for having me on.
Thank you for being with us. And for those people in the design, real estate, staging world who don't know who you are, go ahead and introduce yourself and tell us your background and all that good stuff.
Okay, well, I am Laurie Graham, and I am the owner of Your Business Bestie. My focus is to help you build the business that you love. And I love helping small business owners to truly build the business that they love, because the struggle is so real. When you are building any business, whether you're a small business, mid-size, and let's just keep it real, it is hard anyway. So anything I can do when it comes to marketing, branding, inspiration, office culture, all of those things that I have been doing forever, I love to help build businesses. And so it was funny when I got the questions, it made me think about like, how many different jobs have I had? And your girl is like getting up there. And I was like, man, how many jobs? So I literally wrote them down. So I first worked at a hair salon. Then I worked when I was pregnant with my son at Little Caesars, which was a bad choice. You don't want to be pregnant and working at a pizza place. The next one was a furniture place, Walker Furniture. It's actually right across the freeway from Las Vegas Market. If you're like in one of the higher buildings, you look over the freeway, you'll see Walker Furniture there. I worked there for like 5 years. I started as the receptionist and I worked my way up to being the front end office manager. Then I worked for Citibank, and then I worked as the customer relations manager for Toyota. And then that's when my real estate journey I started working at a real estate, travel, and property management company. And then I did another stint in just luxury real estate and then home staging. And here I am now. The crazy thing is they all kind of intertwine with where I'm at right now and my life. And so if that's a little bit of encouragement for anyone, like, hey, all of everything that's ever happened to you leads you to this moment, and you probably have all the knowledge and resources or friends who do to get you moving forward. So that's kind of my whole little history.
Well, I think you bring up a couple of interesting points. One, a lot of people, when they get into or start a business, they think they emerged right when they started their business. That's when that's their starting point in their journey. And it's not, because everything that you've done up to now feeds into your ability to be successful and to know what to do. So everything people do in their past, and in fact, some people have really unique past. There was, different students will say, oh, I was maybe a lawyer. I was in some interesting field. I'm like, well, you can use that with even like military or something. You can use that and then frame your brand around that aspect of your life, or use those experiences to be able to help you know what to do. And so I think that's really, really important, that it's not, we don't just drop out of the sky one day and like, I have a staging business, Now,
Yeah.
you're also an excellent branding and marketing specialist. And so talk a little bit about what you do with that, and then we're going to talk about your topic.
Well, I would say my experience in branding probably started when I was like, I think I was in fifth or sixth grade, and I would always go in my sister's closet after she would leave for school because she left before me, and I would pick out my outfit. But I wasn't smart enough then to realize if she leaves before me, she comes home before me, right? And so we always fought about that. By the way, my sister that is a home stager as well, which is just a coincidence.
That's cool.
However, I just always had an eye for like fashion or whatever. And then as I grew older, I had a friend who had a boutique. I just wrote about this the other day. And I just stumbled in there one day and I started styling her mannequins. Like I would grab the necklaces. I was like, oh, you should put the necklace on the outfit that's on the mannequin and like all the stuff, right? Then I started doing photography for her in there. Fast forward, my husband and I had a production company. I do photography, brand photography. So I really do have like an eye. Like all the stagers, you have an eye. You can walk into a dingy, dark home and you can be like, voila, I know what I'm going to do to this. Or a vacant landscape, right? Like you're like, okay, I know where everything goes. It's just kind of that way with me. When I talk to my clients, they tell me about their business. They tell me what they want to do, who their client is. It just is like word bubbles in my head, like, oh, we should do this. And if anybody's ever talked to me, because I know we share a lot of the same audience here, they know I'm like, all right, you need to do this. And it's just kind of what I do. And so starting at the beginning of 2023, I just went for it and I started helping people brand the businesses that they love and help them attract the clients, because we know we're all on the struggle bus. We want the right clients. We want the clients that are going to actually pay us
Yes.
what we're worth. But if you're not speaking the right language to those clients, they're not going to buy what you're selling them, right? So I do that with building a brand for a company. I do that with creating social media content. I am a big fan of a curated and beautiful and dreamy and yummy Instagram feed for my clients. And I help also produce videos and create, kind of like reels, informational stuff as well. So all production, all creative. And so that's kind of where I just have an eye for it, I guess you could say.
Well, yeah, so it's a God-given innate talent that you've been able to parlay into business, and believe me, it's definitely needed. And I can see, the last couple of years, the importance of the visual brand and the videos and putting the people out there. Um, the number one fear in this, that people can Google this, which I always think is sort of interesting. The number one fear that people have is public speaking. And because we feel like we're going to be judged. Oh, look at her outfit, or look at her hair, or, if you're up on a stage or what have you, you're being evaluated, and people panic and they get so scared. And what they don't realize is psychologically, people are more thinking about themselves than really projecting and judging other people. And so that fear is that's false evidence appearing real. So it really is that, but it takes practice. And so the importance of video is just going to increase. That is going to be so important for home staging. And we are a visual industry. So if you're watching and you're not taking advantage of video and doing it consistently and looking at your brand, you need to restylize your logo. So I'll be working on that, because I know that we need to do that. You want to be changing. You have different iterations, different colors that come in that are popular. We went from, if you think about staging back in the day, grapes, ivy, reds, yellows, purples, all those colors and stuff that went away, and then it became more streamlined and more, I think the design industry really has influenced staging in a good way. But even, branding, it's more, I think, is more like streamlined, more simple, clean, which is like staging. So people who haven't had a brand assessment, that might be something that you could talk to Laurie about doing, because I think that's really, really important.
Oh yeah, I love doing that. And you guys better buckle up, because Brandon's going to be at this event and he is going to teach you all things about video. And just a little teaser, I know he's going to make you feel just a little bit uncomfortable, but it's okay, because that's how we work through things. That's how, when I speak to my clients, and the number one thing I get is like, I don't like how I look. I don't want to be, on camera. And I'm like, this is the thing that people have to realize. And you kind of touched on it about speaking. It's not about you, boo. It's about what you have inside of you that you are articulating to the people who are following you. So once we can get over, I mean, I can't tell you how many times I fixed my curls, I fluffed it, like, because we're looking at ourselves, but we have to realize, instead of me looking at myself on this camera, if I'm looking at you, Jenny, and I'm engaging with you, I have so many more thoughts and ideas of how I can help than just being focused on myself, right? So
Right.
that's one thing we have to get over. We're not getting on social media doing a video of ourselves to be an influencer unless we are, right?
Right.
But we're getting on there to educate our sphere of influence and the potential clients that we want to come to us. We also are getting on there to educate the value of what we do.
Right.
So I understand. And thank the good Lord that somebody created filters, because if we're not feeling it for one specific reason or not, hello, filters. Like, let's just have some filters, and who cares? But get the message out there. And I know Brandon's going to kill it with that at the conference.
And being able to teach people how to use the filters, because, I do Snapchat and different things, but sometimes there's been times where you push the wrong button, all of a sudden you have like reindeer antlers coming out of your head.
No cat ears. You just want to smooth the skin.
Smooth filters,
Take me
yes.
back a
Beauty
couple
filters.
years in my age, like that, whatever makes you feel good.
Yeah.
But if you do feel good with like cat ears, I would say don't do that.
Yeah. And you also brought up something else too about knowing who your target client is. And I want to say, I know Jonathan's making comments too. So hello, everybody who's watching. I remember, you guys can correct me, a couple of years ago, maybe you guys were talking about avatars and coming up with your perfect avatar. And I'm thinking like, isn't that the name of a movie? And weren't those the blue people? And what is an avatar for a client? And so if that term kept coming out there, and then people using it for marketing purposes, and to understand why is that important? Why do you have to know who your client avatar is?
I also did not. I thought the same thing, Jenny. I was like, tall blue people. Those are my people, the tall people. No. So I learned about Avatar from Jasmine Star, who I am one of the biggest fans of her. Her twin sister, Bianca, is like my pastor. Like, me and her, we vibe, half holy, half hood. We love it, right? But I learned from her. She is an amazing marketing person, all the stuff that Jasmine does. And this is what I wanted you guys to think about. Okay, it's going to be a silly analogy, but just rock with me. Okay, you are in the desert and you are so thirsty, right? You're whatever. Someone comes to you, but they don't speak the same language as you, okay? And they have in their backpack water. And they're trying to offer you water, but you don't know what they're saying because you don't speak the same language as them. So this is why it's so important. You will literally die without water, right? Your business is going to die. Your business is going to suffer if you're not speaking the right language to your right clients. Your realtors are the person in the desert needing the water. They need your staging. They need your expertise. And if you're not speaking the right language to them, then they're never going to see the value. They're never going to use your services. They're not even going to understand. And they're like, oh, don't you like do something with some pictures or something? Like, no, please follow us a day in the life. Let's look at how much we sweat, how much we pull stuff out, how we Jenga our vehicles. Like, that is the value of home staging. And so knowing who your avatar is allows you to speak the language they speak in the way they do. And we break that down so like intricately with my clients. Like, okay, what radio station do they listen to? Where are they eating? Where are they frequently? What neighborhoods? One of the things I have my clients do, and I do for my clients that I manage their social, is I go in and do like a weekly hashtag search for like, you're in Denver. So I'll go on Instagram and I'll do hashtag Denver real estate, hashtag Denver realtor, hashtag Denver homes for sale. And I will go in and I will follow every one of those realtors. I will engage with them. I will start talking to them because that's like a whole nother topic. But now Instagram's going to be like, oh, they know each other. Let's show them each other's stuff, right? And so then you can actually start researching them. I need to know, as a social media content creator, where are your clients going? And if you don't know who your client is, that's okay. You can learn, but you don't want to keep going in your business just saying, I'll take anybody. You know, like
Right.
I'll take any, like I need the money. No, you need the right money, the right client, and you need to be speaking the right language.
And you bring up another interesting point too, is it's with social media. So you have the Gen X, which is largely on Facebook. You have the millennials and so forth, like Instagram, and some of the Gen Z, the olders, they're TikTok and so forth. So you it's not an option when you're in business. It's not an option to just say, well, I'm not going to be on that platform, because we're all getting older. So, and I have a colleague that, says, I don't want to do Instagram. So as Gen Xers get older, it's like you're losing out. Who are the people that are buying houses and getting into real estate? They're the millennials. They're very active on Instagram. You have to have a presence there and learn how to work the platform. And I would take it even a step further. It's like, think about who you are and what kind of clients do you want? Like, as far as, because they're a client, but then they can become a friend, or you could go to events together and they could become more a part of your life and do things together. So you really have to think, like, who am I attracted to as a client? I'm not saying physically or sexually. It's who am I attracted to that I want to be in business with, because you get to choose who your clients are. And of course, when we're new, like you said, you take anything. And then you have those clients that are turds, and they either don't pay on time, or they, they're cheap, or they just make your life hell with their constant demand. You're like, I don't like that type of client. So then what kind of client do you really like? And knowing also my personality isn't going to appeal to every client, right? And so that the idea that everybody's going to like us, that just isn't the case. And it's not that, because we are likable people, but our temperaments, we're going to attract different people. So that's also really important. Is like, as a person, what kind of client do you want to be in business with? And I also know that there's certain clients that are going to be more attracted to a different stager than I am, because of the person's background and their things that they enjoy doing, and so forth. And so it's like, I'm not going to try to change myself and be jack of all trades, master of none. It's be who you are. And then, like you said, be really crystal clear about who your target client is, and really focus on the marketing and branding and messaging for that target audience. I think that's really, really important.
Yeah.
But that's not even, yeah, go ahead.
It is like, you do have to navigate. I have a client, like, oh my gosh, she's definitely going to have an HGTV show for sure. She is so amazing, but she's also newer in the staging industry, right? And so as we built her brand out, we noticed that more people were like, her growth on Facebook skyrocketed because of the location, the geographic location of where she's at. Even the price points of the houses, all of that stuff, like, you do have to kind of test it, and it does change. Like, for a while, you might be like, another one of my clients, she is on Facebook and people love her, and she does the most random things. Like, I'll just text her and be like, all right, you have an hour drive, give me some stories, tell me something funny, like, engage your clients. It could just be the most random stuff, right? But she's very popular on Instagram. And so, I love that you said, Jenny, that just because it's what we do, like, if we're like, oh, I love Facebook, I love looking at my memories, like, because I do that.
Right.
I'm very sentimental. Like, I send my son stuff all the time. I'm like, remember this? He's like, yeah, thanks, Mom. But we can't just go to that because that's what we love. Part of being a business owner is we have to go after the right clients so that we could feel fulfilled in what we do by giving a service or providing something to them that's going to solve their problem. And the great thing about staging is stagers really have an opportunity to build relationships with realtors and make their life easier. And that's what they need to articulate is, let me help you solve your problem of getting the house sold faster and for more money, and let me help you get that commission check a little bit faster, right? And so I think that's really important, to just have an open mind and flow with it. Look at your numbers, see where it's delivering, where people are engaging. And so I think that's really important too.
Yeah, and having the online presence, and I was talking about being like a stalker to your clients. When your clients, if they're on Facebook, friend them. You can actually, on Facebook, it's kind of cool. You can create the partition list, so you can have all your real estate agents in one list. If you want to send something just specifically to that audience, you can. And then, but find out about their birthdays, and if they're traveling, or where do they like to go, so you can kind of have a conversation that's outside of strictly business. If somebody calls and goes, Merry Christmas or Happy New Year, or Happy Holidays, and then it's like dead air because you don't really have anything else to talk about, because you don't really you don't really know them and you start talking about the weather or something. So you need to delve in and know who your clients are. I think on Instagram, there's all that. You can do a lot more hashtags. You can really hone in on who the client is and then be able to tag them. Then when you're sharing about a property, tag the client, mention them. Give them some exposure as well. So I think it's definitely seeing it as a partnership is important. I never look at it like a one way, like handout, like give me some money. It's like, how can I help you be more successful? And because then it's a win-win. It's
Don't you feel so good when you go into a house and you stage it and then it sells really quickly? It's like you're like the fairy godmother, like here it is. And now, it makes you feel so good because you're actually doing what you are passionate about doing, and you use that to help somebody else on their journey. And that's the most satisfying thing.
Yeah, it really is. And so your topic at conference, though, is not about marketing and branding, even though you are an expert in that. We have you talking about something else. And I think it's going to be really, really impactful. So kind of share a little bit about the topic and why, why, I don't know if we told you to talk or you asked to speak the topic. So, but why is this an important topic for you?
Well, I think it all stems from building the business you love. And so Jonathan's so amazing. And, we've just had like a brother-sister relationship for so long. He knows a lot about me. And part of what I've done my whole life is just empower people. And there's nothing better than standing in front of somebody and literally just speaking life into them, like telling them they can do it. Right. I know, like, even for me, taking the leap of faith from being an employee to going solo and doing this, like, there was a lot of fear and there was a lot of like, I'm going to fail. But I had a sphere of people around me that were telling me, you can do this. But I couldn't see, like, I was in the woods, like, I just couldn't see anything. Right. And so I'm going to be speaking on how to build the business you love and how to know that it is your time to shine. Like, my word, I don't know if people do words. If you do words of the year, put them in the comments. I want to know what your guys' words of the year is. I don't do my word of the year for the end of the year. My birthday's in December. And for me, it's like every chapter is a new word. It's a new like intention for me. So 2023 was thrive and 2024 is illuminate. And I want to do everything I can to help my clients illuminate their business. Do you remember, Jenny, because I think we're probably around the same age, do you remember glowworms?
Yes.
Okay. So what happens with the glowworm when it gets squeezed? Its little face shines up, right? And it glows in the dark time. I want to be that for people. When people feel like they are being squeezed, when everything's coming in on them, I want them to know that there's somebody else out there that can see the bigger picture and that they can do the thing that they love. And especially in the home staging industry, because I've been in it for the last 7 years and I know the struggles and I know how hard it is. And I know the comparison game and I know I need to be this or that and do this many houses or have this much. What do all the things, right? And I cannot tell you how many times I've just had a chit chat with a staging friend and I just told them, you can do it. Let me help you. Like, I'll do this. Let me take this off of your plate. You do that. And it is literally like a breath of fresh air for them. And they believe that they can do it because they started the business, whether it's staging or any other business. You start a business because you have a passion for that, or there is something you want, an injustice or something. But when you get in it, let's just be real, you're like, what am I doing? Imposter syndrome sets in, right? They're like, oh my gosh, I can't do this. It's too much. I've even had that thought and I'm barely in on my business. Like, oh, maybe I should go work for someone. No. And that even happened. I got an amazing, amazing offer from a company and I was going to take it, but then I had to go back and tell them, I'm so sorry. I love you. I love what you do. I'm your biggest supporter, but I would be doing myself a disservice if I did not give myself time to shine.
Right.
Like, go through it. So at your conference, I just want to get on that stage and I want to tell each and every person, I want to look them in the eyes and tell them that they can do this. They have been purposed. Think about everything, the sum of every job, every conversation, every lesson learned, every struggle they've had has led them to this place right now. And we have to stop the negativity and the fact that so many people think that staging is just not important. It's not a lucrative thing. What is the real reason why you started it? And build the business that you love, and don't look to your left or the right or your right. Just keep building. And so I'm super excited to be able to just tell the people there what rock stars they are, to let them know that we all struggle. We all have every single staging company has imposter syndrome. Every staging company business owner has thought, should I sell? That's like the biggest thing, like, should I just sell my company? But regardless, if like maybe you thought you wanted to be a big staging company, I think Jonathan talked about this yesterday. Maybe you thought you wanted to be this giant, like have multiple locations, but that's because that's what you heard around you, right? But maybe your heart is just to do the one place, your one sphere that you want, and do it to the best of your ability. Maybe what brings you true satisfaction is giving good service to your realtors, to being their person in their pocket, that you're actually alleviating some stress for them. Or maybe your dreams are so stinking big and you want something in every single state. That's good too. But you have to know that just to build the business that you love, not what somebody else tells you should love or that you've heard you should love.
And I think you bring up again another really great point, is that our industry, I think, focuses on the big, large companies and those that have the trucks and the teams and all these different things. And I sometimes feel like the solopreneur is sort of overlooked and oftentimes maybe even embarrassed to talk about their company. Like, well, it's just me, and I have a guy that sometimes helps me, and so they're kind of like sheepish about it. But it's, and I said this on that last show. Sometimes the people that are smaller are more profitable because the people with larger companies have the overhead and also a lot more stress. I have what I would call like a mid to large company. I don't have like a massive company, but I am responsible for like 6 different people's income on top of mine. And so, and there's 2 of them or 3 of them are family members. So it's even harder because it's like, I have to keep hustling for the business. It's like, if I stop, it impacts not just myself, but other people. And that's a great deal of stress. And so, and I love just keeping the eyes forward. Don't be looking here and comparing, be forward focused. And when the crap hits the fan and we're like, oh my God, this is, I don't know if I can dig myself out of the situation, or your attitude is impacted because of a client or a scenario or some other external factor, we tend to be like, put our heads down and we're going to go forward. Somebody like Laurie can be like, look up, and she could see beyond, because we're so fixated on our personal circumstances. We can't see out here. And then I think the reminder of going back to why did you get in the business in the first place is really important, because that's your flame under your butt to get out there and keep going.
Yeah. I mean, can we just for a second? Okay. The responsibilities of a business owner with staff are real. But Jenny, when you just said that, if I came alongside you and I'm like, Jenny, you got this. You're going to do it. Like, seriously, it's going to be okay. Like, regardless of what the outcome is, it's going to be okay. Yeah. Like, whatever. Can we normalize being excited for our businesses? Can we normalize that staging is awesome? Can we normalize that it's okay to be excited no matter what size your business is, instead of constantly like, oh, I'm not good enough here. I'm not good enough here. I hate social media. I hate this. The cool thing is that for every weakness a business owner has, there is a person who that is their strength. Now, I know what you're going to say, but I don't have a budget. I don't have money. I don't make a lot. That's okay. Just have the conversation with the person. Just have the conversation, because you never know where that's going to lead you. And so I think if we can just normalize the excitement and the importance of, especially this industry, but for anybody, any business that they have, that would take us so much further in what we do than constantly thinking, how am I going to fail? How am I going to compare to this person? How am I ever going to get to this?
Well, I think it's also knowing that normalizing struggle and normalizing when things don't work out. It's, failure is not you're a loser. It's first attempt in learning. I like that definition, FAIL, first attempt in learning. So if something doesn't work out, shift and do something different, because when you really have a passion for something, you can find a lane that fits with what you are able to do and what you love to do. So I think we also need to normalize that there are struggles. And I've said this before on social media, with filters or without filters, people put themselves out there, and most people talk about their, how great everything is and the successes. And there's not a whole lot of like, today my life was crap, or I'm feeling down in the dumps, because it's like that Saturday Night Live episode. This is where I'm going to probably date myself. Debbie Downer. Whoa,
Mm-hmm.
Nobody wants a Debbie Downer, right? So if you put Debbie Downer out on social media, you'll get some empathy. But if you're always complaining about stuff, then people are like, well, I don't want to be around that. But there has to be forums, there has to be places where you can honestly share. And so on the IAHSP site, there's groups. We have the groups on Facebook that you can join that are private. So you can put out your struggles. And there's, believe me, anything that anybody has experienced, there's been somebody who's experienced the exact same thing. And they either learned from it, knew how to get through it, sucked at getting through it, and look back and say, this is what I would have done differently. But there's somebody that can advise you, which is really important.
Yeah. And I do want to touch on, think about the people that you follow on social media. Maybe just, it's like for personal. There's so many people that I follow that will get on looking busted, talking about like all the things that have happened to them. I do think there's something there, even with your staging business, when things don't go right, being coached in the right way of how to present that. But why do I follow these people that get on social media looking busted and being, transparent and vulnerable? Because it's relatable.
Yeah.
Right. And so, thinking even about that, you want to take whatever your challenge is or what you're facing into a private setting, like you said, in the groups, and say, hey guys, this is my challenge. This is what I'm going through right now. Does anybody have any, advice? Right. And then the people who've been through it, you should be so excited and hyped up and passionate to be like, oh girl, I got you. This is how you do it. Do not go into this house without a contractor. Get the money up front, or whatever that looks like, right? But then once you've overcome it, that's when you can say, hey, this happened to me, guys. Like, whatever, if you want to share that publicly. But how much stronger of an industry would we be if we, the people who have been stepped on, walked over, had the challenge, whatever, didn't get paid on a job, what if we took all of that and we used it to catapult people who are about to go through it? And I kind of think that's what IHOSP is all about. Like, it's the history. It's we've been there. We've done that. Let us help you get to where you want to go. Let us help you build the business that you love. Yeah. Right. So I think that's really important that people know, like, even in normalizing the excitement, I say that because I feel like for the last couple of years, we haven't, as an industry, been normalizing the excitement of being home staging companies. Oh, you want to be a stager? Good luck with that. Like, you're not going to make any money. So if you want to start a staging business, you better be prepared to be the logistics person, the salesperson, the accountant, the stager, the driver, the buyer, all of the things, right? You better be prepared to. What does that do? That makes you feel like, oh gosh, what am I doing? Like, I can't do it all, but you can, one step at a time.
Which you actually bring up. I mean, there's now an opportunity. When I heard you say that, is like, for people who don't like doing all of that, why could there be a company that does provide that on behalf of a stager, so the stager can do the creative things that they love? They don't have to handle all of this other stuff. And I know that we could probably come up with some like spiffy brand for it, but I think there's definitely a need, because the sales cycle can be short or long in staging. And I think that people set up a business, they get a nice website, and then they sit back and they're like, here, I'm ready to stage. And why isn't the phone ringing? Where are my clients? I don't have any business. Like, you got to market. You got to get out there and market and make people know who you are, make them aware of you. And then when the opportunity comes in, maybe you send off pricing, and then you sit back. Okay, well, they're going to call me back, and they're going to hire me. I just know that. And you just sit back, and you got to follow up. You got to follow up and close the sale, and find out what there's always a bit of negotiation. So strategically, I always build in some wiggle room. I always do, because I know that they're going to, sometimes they go, oh, that's great. I'm thinking like, I should have priced it higher, because they just agreed immediately, and then, but there's always wiggle room. So there's strategies that people that are, that like doing the marketing and sales, that's what they do. But if you suck at it, or you don't want to do that, there are people that probably could do that for you and be
Yeah.
your sales arm, so that you don't have to be the one doing that. And, you know, whether you pay them a commission or a percentage or a base or plus that, there's always incentive, because salespeople are motivated by money
Yeah.
and the challenge and winning. That's what we like. Right.
Yeah.
So, but light bulb kind of went on. I think that's maybe table it for now, but that's something to think about, I think there's definitely a big need. And I know if we polled our members and said, how many of you would like to have a business that did this for you, so you could just focus on what you love to do, which is the creative, I bet we'd have a ton of takers.
Yeah.
That's
And the thing is, it's hard because I've spoke to a lot of people, and some of my clients are brokerages and loan officers. There's not many people marketing companies. So I'm just saying this, you know, in case anybody wants to start one, that actually has a marketing whole company for the staging industry. Because
Yeah.
we're still, I don't even know how long, I'm probably horrible, but I don't even know how long staging's been around, but a long, 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 long time. And they're still not familiar with what it is.
Yeah, I mean, if you
Because
think,
some of the clients that I have, when I talk to them and tell them what I do, when they are a stager and they've talked to someone else, that person, like creating content or copy, how is somebody who doesn't even understand the avatar of a home staging company going to write copy for social media that's going to attract the right client? Right? There's going to be a longer amount of time before that starts picking up. And so I think that would be a brilliant thing for someone to start, like a whole marketing company.
I think so too, because we've hired, you know, for the training, staged homes, and even with IHOS, I've hired marketing companies to put social media content out there. And not only is the grammar incorrect, the stuff that they're putting out there isn't even correct. It's not even, and so I would get upset, like, who is putting this content? I don't even know if they are English as their first language, first of all, but secondly, the stuff that they're putting out there, you don't understand what we're trying to do here. And I think that's a excellent point, that I don't think a company like that exists. And it's an opportunity. There's a need right now, and I could see it could be more than one company could do that, because I could see there's going to be a lot of demand, rather than hiring and it's like trying to fit a square peg in a round hole, or vice versa. That we're hiring these different people trying to make it work, but they really don't understand what we do.
Yeah.
So that really speaks to the importance of working with someone like you that does understand the industry, you know, knows that, but taking it even a step further, so that people, when they get into the business, if they're feeling like, oh, good luck with home staging, it's really hard. And when we were in England, we were on a panel, and one of the stagers, he's got a successful business, and he was like, there's too many stagers. He was like he was like a Mr. Downer, and, you know, Dan instead of Debbie, it'll be Dan Downer. And so he was kind of like raining on the parade. And I'm like, you know, more means more. You know, there isn't one market in the world that's saturated with staging, where every single property is staged. So when more people want to get in, you look at that as an opportunity. The more people that are talking about it, the more the awareness is. And for a lot of the newer agents, that if they've never, you know, they're not an old timer, you know, staging's been around. So I'll answer that question. It was founded in 1972, but actually took off like in the late 90s. That's when the first staging companies really started to emerge. So we're in our 25th year with IHOSP. So figure it's 25 years. And yet you're right. There still is an awareness issue. There's newer agents that if they've never bought or sold a house, never had to use a stager, they get into real estate or investing or building, and they're not aware of this service that can help them. So there will never be a time that we can't be educating. We'll always have to be educating. But I think collectively in mass, the more people that are out there sharing it, the better. And the mindset sometimes is, well, they're my competition, so why should I help them? And, you know, if what I'm doing, I'm just going to focus on myself here, not realizing that each person in the industry is impacting every other person by what we do, what we say, how we perform. And, you know, bad apples, good apples, you know, if there's people that are not performing well, rather than being rude to them or dissing them, it's like, help them, you know, say, you know, we could see you're struggling over here. This is what I would advise you to do so that you can remain in the industry, versus, you know, bringing it down. And the people that price low because they don't know better are driving the market down. It's encourage them, like, raise your prices. You don't have to bring it down, but have those conversations with colleagues versus just getting pissed. Right.
Yeah. Build a bridge, not a wall, right?
Yeah,
Like,
exactly.
build a bridge for them to be successful and for you to partner. I know it's hard. Like, the struggle is real. Like, you're worried. I've known like the top talent, you know, being concerned with, you know, another company, but how much stronger are we if we can come together? And I have witnessed so much like stagers actually taking another stager company to coffee and them collaborating goes so much further than them worried, because how much of your day gets put into looking on social media to see what the person you're afraid is going to take something from you is doing. Like literally, how much productivity are you losing? How much excitement? How much fun? And one of my big things for this year, and it's kind of off topic, but I want to challenge everyone, is big belly laughs. Like, are you on social media worried about another company and you're not getting a belly laugh today? Like, get you some big belly laughs, have fun, enjoy what you do, build the business that you love. Stop worrying about what the other person is doing, just in general.
Yeah.
And get around. This is one of the biggest things I can say, is because I know they're probably like, yeah, Laurie, yeah, right. Like, you don't understand. This is how you're going to get to the big belly laughs in your life. Surround yourself with the right people, and knowing that everybody has a chair at the table. It's not just one group of people. Everyone does, but surround yourself on the daily basis around people who inspire and empower you. And that doesn't mean they're just always going to tell you, oh, you can do it, girl, because believe you me, my best friend has given me the business a few times. Like, no, you're being silly. Or, of course, like my husband, my biggest supporter, he's going to tell me how it is, right? Like, but they're also the people who are like joking around. And I'm focused on, how can I check in with my friend today and tell her something? Or how can I check in with my client and encourage her? I'm not focused on what anyone else is doing. And if we do that, we'll be so much more successful. And I think as an industry, because we're so, there's no real set standard, because, for instance, one of my clients, they're still selling houses in the 200,000s. I'm in California. Everything's $1 million here, right? And so how can those two pricings compare? They can't, right? What California would price for the same house over here is they can't even afford. That's probably the price of the house or whatever, right? So there's just been this uncertainty, but you just have to know what works for you. And if somebody is underbidding you, I will tell you right now, instead of getting frustrated and wasting time living your best life, please put on your big girl panties and take that person to coffee and just say, hey, you're so good at this. I see your work. This is kind of, where I'm at in my price range, or like what I do. Find out, ask them a million questions about themselves, because we love talking about ourselves. And then see, how can you collaborate, and tell them, like, girl or guy, you really need to be charging more. You're so much more valuable. Jenny, if I came to you and I was like, Jenny, what you do is amazing and you are so valuable. How's that going to make you feel?
Makes you feel good. Yeah, it makes you feel like, they see me, that they recognize, versus like, you're undercutting the market and you need to stop doing that because you're driving, versus the criticism. I think and you said something about surrounding yourself with like-minded, positive people. One of the best places to do that is at a conference, because the people that come to the conference are the ones that are active. They want to learn. They're excited. They're going to get even more excited. And starting off your year in January, coming to a conference and hearing all of the information that you can then implement for your successful year, meeting colleagues who then you have this network of people who are going to support you. That's where they are, because it can be very lonely sometimes in staging, because we're busy, we're working. We don't oftentimes get together with colleagues. And so it's like, you feel like, you're not the only one, but sometimes you feel like you're the only one. Right.
Yeah.
So, but getting in together at a conference, it's not just like sitting and listening like to a bunch of, I gotta listen to the speaker. There's so much more. The overall experience is what you need to experience. And if you've never been to a conference, come. So it's about the learning and the knowledge, but it's also just the excitement and I love the joy and laughing, and the whole thing about not comparing. I stopped doing that years ago, like probably, this is my 22nd year, probably 20 years ago, stopped caring about what other people were doing in like my competition. It's like, I don't have competition. I have colleagues, and my clients are my clients, and my business is my business. And it's up to me to, hit my goals and so forth. So I'm not concerning myself with what's happening on the, left or right, like you said. But making colleagues versus competitors out of people in your region and in the industry itself, because there's a huge brain trust of knowledge for people that have been in it for a long time, that we're, wanting to pass on to the younger stagers who we hope are going to stay in and carry the business forward. That needs to happen. So get around like-minded, positive, excited people, because you can definitely find people who quit. You can find people who think it doesn't work. You could talk to realtors like, you don't need to do that. Why? I'm like, next, I'm not going to spend my time trying to convince that person. It's like, find the person that wants what you have, is excited, is on, hey, they're like your running mates. I think that's the best thing about a conference, is finding those people.
Yeah, I love conferences. I love the energy. I would challenge every person that comes, especially like, I don't know if you guys have this or not, but like no stager sits alone. So like there are so many people that come just solo. So I don't know, just like random in my head. This is me having ideas. This is me in action, you guys. So like maybe as you guys get ticket sales in, you're like, okay, they only bought one ticket. Does this mean they're coming solo, or are they coming with a friend? Let's make sure that this person has a partner, somebody that's going to be with them, because it can be overwhelming. And so I think that knowing that no one sits alone, and then just challenging the people that come to meet as many people as possible. And even if you have to Google or Chat GPT, which is my best friend, questions to ask a person. Like if you have to have a little cue card or something on your phone that says what questions, because even though I get energy off of other people, I love to empower and inspire people. If I'm just in a regular setting and I meet somebody, I'm super awkward. I'm like, hi, I'm good. How are you? What do you do? Oh, okay. And then I'm like, do. So just know, like all this bubbly energy, like this is because I'm doing what innately inside me brings me joy and energy. But when I'm just in a position where I'm like at Starbucks or something, and someone strikes a conversation with you, I'm super awkward. So if you have to do that, do that. But that's going to take you so much further to learn at least 3 things about every person you meet at the conference. Write them down.
That's really important, because there's and we did a big sister, little sister, big brother, little, try to be, the experience with the new person at a conference. So we paired people up. That's definitely something we could do. I like, I like that nobody sits alone, because we don't want people to come and feel like they didn't connect with anybody. And I know that people come to the conference, you get to see your buddies that you've been friends with for a long time. And I'm always a big thing of like, I don't want to call them a clique, because that sounds very like high school, but you have a group. And so it's hard to get into the group if you're on the outside, like knocking on the door. So to make people feel welcome, you at least have a time where it's not just, you have a time with your friends, but have a time where you're really focused on getting to know other people and welcoming them in. There's an acronym that I learned years ago. So it's called FORM, FORM, Family, Occupation, Recreation, Message. So if you're ever having a conversation with somebody, like you said, people like talking about themselves, you can ask about family. What do you do? What do you like to do for fun? And then whatever message you want to leave them with, whether it's, hey, we should get together for coffee, or this is what I do and I can help you, or whatever it is. But that's a good acronym just to remember if you're at a loss of like, what can I ask this person? Why did you get into staging? That's an easy one. And that people that's an easy question, because people will love to share, why did they get into staging?
Yeah.
So I think that's really good. Yeah.
I know that when I used to have a women's ministry, and at our events, I would tell our staff, like, if you see a woman sitting by herself, like no woman sits alone. Like, I don't care if you're serving, you have to have someone cover what you're doing. You're going to go plop yourself next and be like, hi, my name is Laurie. What do you do? Like, and you're going to talk to them, because there's nothing worse. Everybody's a little nervous. Everybody's like, oh, looking around. And for those clicks, my little girl groups over here, the people that, our little family, here's a challenge for you. When you're in your group, I hope that this thought will come across your mind. Look around you. Who's sitting by themselves? And you, the person that had this thought, you're going to go get that person and say, hey, come join us. Come hang out on our group. Come, or even if you're sitting at a table. I was at a conference recently and somebody sat at the table next to us by themselves. I was like, oh, no. Come on over here. You're going to sit with us. Now, is it awkward? I don't know this person. Is it more comfortable when you're sitting with your girls or your family, Yes, but that person, you just made a difference in their life. And that's the best thing that somebody can do. So that's the challenge for, I don't ever want to say like, oh, it's bad when you have your groups, because I've been to conferences recently and I got to see people I haven't seen in a long time, hug them, all the things. And it felt so good. And I felt so happy. And, I vibe off of energy. But then at the same time, let's remember those, like, just look around. Who can you include? Like at least 1 to 2 people into your group of the people that you hang out with at events.
Right. I think, yeah, that's really important. We've even done like this, not the scavenger hunt, but the thing you have the card, like find somebody who has, 3 kids or somebody who's lived abroad or whatever. You have these
That's
things
fun.
and you have to have conversations with people. So we could do like, and then people fill out the card and then they get entered into some win a prize or something. So I think there's definitely ways we could have the interaction, games or things that we can do at the conference. And I just think that in general, like anytime you're at an event or just out and about, I just start talking to anybody, I'm like, if I'm in line at Starbucks, I'll strike up, because you never know. One of my things is people will lead you to people that need you. So you never know who you might be talking with, right? That they may not be your client, but they may know somebody that is potentially a really great client, because you took the time to engage with them and have just a friendly conversation. That could then, and you're not doing it because you think, oh, they're gonna, I'm gonna get something out of it. You're doing it because you just like talking to people and you're genuinely interested, and that then translates and transfers into possibly, opportunities. So
yeah, yep, I agree. That's a good one.
Well, I can't wait to have you with us in Las Vegas and to hear what you're going to share. And I was going to be a huge impact. And those of you that, again, tuned in, thank you so much. We're going to be putting this up on our sites, the video on our YouTube channel, on our website for Homestaging Talk. And get your tickets, because, again, prices go up at midnight, New Year's Eve. So don't wait, because it's programmed in. And then from that point forward, $100 more. So save yourself $100. You can use that money, gamble it, or save it. I'm not a gambler, but I do slots every once in a while. So when I was there in July at the market, I played a 10-cent slot and I won like $300. It was like one of these, like, it was like the happy boot. All of a sudden, I'm like, what's happening? And I kept pushing buttons, and all of a sudden it was like racking up money.
It's a dangerous slope. I grew up in Las Vegas, so it's dangerous, but you're just visiting. So give yourself a budget and stick to that budget. Get yourself a buddy too, if you're going to go gamble, that will cut you off.
I took my money and I said, I'm done. I took my money. We went to the Venice and we did the gondola ride.
Oh, that's so fun.
Yeah, it was fun.
Yeah. And there's a brand new hotel that literally has been being built since I was in high school there, Fontainebleau. And so that's a fun thing. And it's kind of at the end of the strip. So like closer to maybe where people are going to stay. That would be great for, people to go and check that out. It's not too far.
Yeah, we could do like a meet at the Fontainebleau after the thing. My cat is jumping on my computer. He's about to close the lid. Yeah, I think that'd be really fun. And I just read an article on that, so it's supposed to be fabulous.
Yeah, and what a great, sorry, I know we got to end, but what a great testament to staying the course. Yep. Literally 28, 30 years that building has been built. It was built and then sold, bankrupt, bought again, lost the market crashed, bought again, and now it has come to fruition. So if anything tells you, keep going, keep, your dream, the business that you want to build can come to fruition. Go into the Fontainebleau would be a great way to inspire you for that.
Yeah, that'll be awesome. That's a great tip. And so we'll somehow work that in as like a thing, because I love seeing new hotels and the elements that they put in, the features, and that one in particular, the article I read, I mean, it's beautiful.
Mm-hmm. Beautiful. Yeah. Yep. Well, thank you so much. Yeah. Thank you for having me on. I appreciate you. I love everything you guys are doing. I want to just say that having it at Las Vegas Market, I shared this with Amy. I think that is so amazing and awesome. So like out of the box. I love it. I'm so honored and excited to come to give people high fives, hugs, be silly, maybe offer some belly laughs, whatever it is that they need, and that they can come to your event and just have the best time ever.
Yep, absolutely. And you said it all, as far as why to come, and we can't wait to meet all of you there. So if you're on the fence thinking like, I don't know if I want to come, I promise, I guarantee that when you come, it'll be life-changing for you. And not in like a, new agey or whatever. It's be life-changing for your business and your belief and your success. It's going to give you a boost that you desperately need, especially after the last few years of all the uncertainty that we've dealt with. So it's going to be amazing. So I can't wait.
Awesome. Thanks so much,
everybody, for tuning in.
Bye.
Bye.
And she's like, so we can get on the other side.
Okay, so I think I